XXth IOSTE, International Organization for Science and Technology Education. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. UFPE, Federal University of Pernambuco, gladly announces the opening ceremony for the 20th International Organization for Science and Technology Education, IOSTE. Welcome everyone who is here at the auditorium and those who are watching remotely. Para a abertura dos trabalhos, nós vamos compor a mesa de abertura convidando as seguintes autoridades. A partir de agora, nós faremos em inglês. As for the ceremony opening table, may I invite UFB Vice Chancellor, Professor Moacir Araújo Cunha. May I invite Your Excellence, Mr. Mustafa Dias, Executive Secretary of Tourism and Trade Relations. Okay. May I invite Your Excellence, Dr. Aguinaldo Arroyo, Chair of IOSTE. Okay. He's attending remotely. It happens. May I invite Your Excellence, Dr. João Tenório. He's not remotely, he's here. He's the chair of IOSTE 2020. May I also invite Dr. Glauco dos Santos Ferreira da Silva, co-chair of IOSTE 2022 Symposium. May I also invite Dr. Tatiana Cristina dos Santos, Chair of the Center of Education. Once the ceremony open table is formed, let us please listen to the Brazilian anthem that will be performed at this time.
Esperançar, esperançar. As I give a shout out to Paulo Freire, I would like to offer a warm welcome to all people who are here in person and virtually participating in this opening ceremony of IOSTE. 25 years after the first publication of the Pedagogy of the Past, Paulo Freire wrote the Pedagogy of Hope, in which he revisits the past from his childhood here in Recife, in Jaboatão, to his exile in Chile. Paulo Freire conveys the idea that hope, as the act of esperançar, is one of the key points for emancipation, transformation, and liberation from oppression. Language, in this sense, for Freire is a force of oppression, but also for liberation. Paulo Freire states, what would be intolerable would be simply pronouncing democratic, anti-discriminatory discourse and maintaining the colonial practice. Therefore, we have chosen esperançar as the theme of this IOSTE International Symposium to be transformed into an emancipation force of our actions. Using esperançar in Portuguese, or even better in Brazilian, is to present the strength of this concept in its original form. It is to speak up, to write, to study, to pronounce esperançar, for this construction of a democratic and anti-discriminatory discourse and for promotion of anti-colonial practice. Esperançar is a concept to be widely discussed in these days during the symposium. can expand the theoretical discussion in the field of science education and science technology education, and at the same time can promote an emancipatory wave radiating from here, from Recife in the state of Pernambuco. At this moment, I want to honor the people from Pernambuco. As an outlander, throughout these months of preparation for this symposium, I have been learning a lot about this state and about the people from Pernambuco. It is in the strength of the Brazilian language spoken in this land that I want to honor the people from here. In the same book, Pedagogy of Hope, I have found Paulo Freire's words, a man from Pernambuco, to help me to honor this land. The sonority of their language, with the countless idioms expressed, says Paulo Freire, the lovely way the people from Pernambuco spoke of themselves, no matter that it be of their sorrows and the world. Lovely and sure. That's it. Lovely and sure. With the fervor of Frevon, Maracatu, and the legacy of insurrection battles throughout Brazil's colonial history, the people from Pernambuco built this incredible cultural heritage. Paulo Freire is Paulo Freire because of the beauty of the people from this land. Esperançar puts us in a movement of indignation in the face of social injustices, often materialized in so-called environmental tragedies. I say that because this year was marked by heavy rains here in Recife and cities nearby. At the end of May, the rains left around 9,000 people homeless and led to 130 fatalities. I want to honor these people from Pernambuco whose beautiful life remains in the memories of their family. I'd like to take this moment also to honor the people of the city where I'm from and live, Petrópolis. In the state of Rio de Janeiro, in February and March of this year, Petrópolis registered the highest rainfall in the history of the city, which resulted in the greatest social and environmental tragedy, with 241 fatalities, and 2 people are still missing. I want to honor these people from Petrópolis, whose beautiful lives remain in the memories of our family. I will take this moment in a written protocol and read it in Portuguese.
IOSTE International Organization for Science and Technology Education Symposium, 25 to 29 July 2022, Recife, Brazil. I'm the chair for the IOSTE for this tenure 2020 to 2022. Rector, Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to have been invited to open this 20th IOSTE Symposium. Unfortunately, I cannot come face to face with all of you due to the current situation and context in Brazil. But we are still together, even hybrid, and this is a new approach to IOSTE. This was only possible as an advance of science and technology. We certainly maintain the legacy of IOSTE, and this hybrid symposium has been very significant at this time. In 1979, in Halifax, Canada, a group formed by science and technology educators got together and organized an event called Symposium on World Trends in Science Education, in which the participants engaged in looking for a way to build bridges through the division that was the world in that context of the Cold War, aiming to encourage contact and dialogue between researchers in education on both sides. For some decades, we heard and read this story about the beginning of an international organization for science and technology education, which in 1984 was made official as IOSTE. Since its origin, IOSTE has a different perspective from other organizations because it values global values, promotes the diversity of participants, and seeks cooperation between people as established in its constitution. This organization has already held its symposium in all continents and in several countries such as Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, Philippines, United States of America, Netherlands, South Africa, Brazil, Poland, Malaysia, Turkey, Slovenia, Tunisia, Portugal, Sweden, and South Korea. In fact, it's a very international and not just a name. It is one of the organizations for science and technology education that is not located anywhere in the world. It has an international committee with representatives from 15 regions around the globe involving all countries. In 1979, a substantial division separated East and West, a division of ideology and values that segregate, persecute, defamated people on both sides. For this reason, the union of that group of educators was fundamental to protect and promote scientific and technological education. Today, in 2022, we are here in the context of a pandemic of COVID-19 that overwhelmed the planet with more than 6.8 million deaths. But since our last symposium in 2021, we already had lost 2.3 million deaths. Please keep in mind we already vaccines on that time, but the inequalities and scientific denialism increased that number of deaths in 4.5 million of lost lives. The IOSTE has this challenge, idealized at the beginning of its origin to create bridges, and at this moment scientific and technological education need to rebuild these bridges with civil society fighting and demystifying scientific disinformation and fake news, anti-vaccine movements, scientific denialism, flat earth movements, through the promotion and recognition of the values of science, technology, and education, as well as fighting the economic and social inequality. Those are living many countries without access to vaccines to protect their population and the right to life. We would like to express our deepest respect to the Ukrainian people who are facing a clear violation of international law, territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine. These barbaric acts are unjustified war, with the destructions of schools and kindergartens, victimizing the civilian population, including children. IOSTE reiterate our solidarity with and support the Ukrainian teachers and researchers, including their families and Ukrainian community in general. We had Ukrainians researching attending our interregional symposium, Education in the Face of Humanitarian Disaster, last May in Krakow, Poland, organized by Katarzyna Pociala, John Oversby, and Natalia Danishkan, who kindly facilitated the dialogue in Ukrainian. That is why I reiterate the principles that constitute the organization's mission. IOSTE considers that science and technology education should highlight education for citizenship and informed, critical, and active participation in democracy. Stress the relationship between science, technology, and society. Emphasize the cultural and human values of science and technology. Promote equity and science and technology education. Promote sustainable development. Contribute to the fight against poverty, discrimination, and injustice. Encourage the peaceful and ethical use of science and technology in the service of humankind. Encourage cultural diversity and international understanding through science and technology education. Stimulate international collaboration in the domains of research and development, and promote cooperation with other international organizations. During this week, at the International Symposium, all participants become members of the IOSTE, and as members of each of the 15 regions, they must elect a new representative from each region to serve on the IOSTE International Board until the next symposium in 2024. Next Friday, we will know who will be held the next symposium. Usually, that happens in 2 years. For this reason, you were invited to participate in the regional meeting, according to the information available in the program. The last symposium was initially planned to take place in August 2020 in Daegu, South Korea, but due to the contest, it was postponed to February 2021, remotely. In the past, we had a symposium cancelled, but for the first time, we did it remotely. And now we are doing it hybrid. So I would like to thank you immensely for the work done by the Korean conveners last year and today the Brazilian conveners, who did the best they could within the contest. We found ourselves in also the IOSTE executive and board members. On behalf of IOSTE, I can say that all the regions were fortunate to have representatives so active. And I would express my appreciation to Professor João Tenório da Silva and his local team to have this symposium. I'm sure that this symposium will be a great success and bring fruitful opportunity for all of us. I wish all participants to encourage intercultural dialogue and international collaboration, as well as to enjoy and celebrate life. I'm honored to open the 20th International IOSTE Symposium. Enjoy the program, expand your academic network, and make a better place. Keep well and safe. Thank you.
Pernambuco! Terra de tradições! Our culture here for you! Balé Cultural de Pernambuco! Saudando a todos vocês! Welcome Pernambuco! Let's go, dancer! Now let's go carnival, about our carnival and the poetry and the colors, the sun. Vamos traduzir em cores e amor. Very fast rhythmic. But now our dance is so poetry, suave, cantando, emanando a luz do fervo de bloco que na palma da mão diz assim. Todos, let's go everybody! Fala tanto que meu bloco está dando adeus pra nunca mais sair. E depois o povo vai se despedir do regresso de não mais voltar. Suas pastoras vão pedir. Não deixe não que o bloco campeão coloque no peito a dor de não cantar. Um bloco a mais é o sonho que se faz dos pastores da vida singular. É lindo! É lindo ver o dia amanhecer com violões e pastorinhas mil dizendo bem. Vamos lá para o nosso Let's Go, Our Dance, Pernambuco, o carnaval melhor do meu Brasil. Our Carnaval for you! Não nunca mais sair e depois se desfilar. of the world, our rhythmic frevo! Segura a onda! Oi! Esse frevo é todo nosso! Você diz que ela é bela sim senhor. Porém não fosse mais bela se ela tivesse meu amor. Você diz que ela é bela sim senhor. Porém não fosse mais bela se ela tivesse meu amor. Bela toda a natureza, bela de tudo que é belo. O sorriso da criança, de uma voz, tudo fica na lembrança. Ela é bela passarinho, indo em busca do seu ninho. Todo mundo se amando, com amor e com carinho, sorrindo, chorando de amor, de amor.
The inspiring theme for this symposium invites us to Esperança, as a lot of people said before. According to Paulo Freire, Esperança leads us beyond just to feel hope. It's to turn hope into action. So, during this week at the symposium, we are challenged to think about, to feel, and to propose actions, moved by an active hope to come up with a transformative agenda for science and technological education. In this direction, our first discussion is entitled Between Authoritarianism and Denialism, is there a place for critical science education? Who is speaking for us is Cristiano Matos, Professor Dr. Cristiano Matos, who is a physicist with a master's in science teaching with emphasis on history and epistemology of physics. And he has PhD in physics at the University of São Paulo. His work is focused on complex cognitive systems. He is currently associate professor at the Physics Institute of the University of São Paulo, conducting research in science education, Also, he is the leader of the Science and Complexity Education Research Group, named ECHO. Before to get position at University of São Paulo, Cristiano was a teacher at basic education for several years. And also, he taught science in elementary school and high school. He worked as editor for science and mathematics textbooks, participated in the Brazilian textbook evaluation program. In Portuguese, his initials P and LD, and he was the leader editor of the Brazilian Journal of Research in Science Education. Over the last 20 years, he has based his research on the historical cultural activity theory within a Freirean perspective, mainly addressing issues as the relationship between activity and consciousness, situated cognition, teach and learn of scientific and quotidian concepts, models of biological interaction, complexification of concepts and theory. It's a great pleasure to introduce Cristiano Matos to this conference as a Brazilian researcher who has proposed bright and transformative ideas in our country and around the world, improving science and technological education research and practice. Also, he is a dear colleague that often share interesting stories about travels, wine, gourmet adventures, and so on, mainly to meet and join friends with very, very good conversation. Cristiano, thank you so much for being here with us.
Well, after the frevo, let's talk about work.